It was a beautiful summer evening, the kind where the world hums with life. Around the square, children chased each other through the playground. Adults chatted under the trees, and in the distance, teenagers ground their skateboards. I had spent the entire day in a stuffy workshop, one of those that's packed a little too tightly with numbers, workplace politics, slides, and all the smells from people working hard all day long in a confined room in summer without air conditioning. But in the end, I was finally free, and crossing the square to my Bollywood dance class, I took a deep breath, savoring the golden warmth. That's when I got the call. Not on my phone. It was nature calling. I had to go. I looked frantically across the square. A toilet sign. I dashed toward it like my life depended on it, and I burst through the door and, wow, found myself in an unexpectedly bright, clean and fresh room with an open window, but I had no time for that. I pushed into one of the 2 cubicles and sat down. Finally, relief. But not for long. Suddenly, the handle of the door started rattling up and down, up and down, up and down, like someone was trying to break in. Why couldn't they just use the other cubicle, I wondered. I was about to yell, "It's occupied!" when I heard a tiny, panicked voice cry out, "Daddy! Daddy!" From outside the bathroom came, "Yes, sweetie." "It's too late! It's too late!" My annoyance evaporated in an instant. Poor little girl. As I finished up and opened the door, I saw a kneeling father cuddling a dejected little girl in his arms. Her drenched, heartbroken eyes met mine, and I shared a silent moment of compassion with her. She said, "Now everyone will say I'm a baby because I still wet my pants." That hit me like a ton of bricks. Is that when it starts? She was only 3 years old, and she already feared being judged. I wanted to tell her, "You're beautiful, you're strong, and you're so much more than what anyone might say." But instead, I remained silent. Even though the words were at the tip of my tongue, they just would not come out. And as I left, without saying anything, something clicked. That girl wasn't just a stranger. There was so much of her inside of me. How could I tell her not to let the fear of judgment hold her back when for years I'd let it hold me back? How could I tell her not to worry, not to hide, if I'd stayed hidden, constantly worrying about not measuring up and not speaking my mind? If I wanted to be someone who could stand in front of her and say, "You don't have to be afraid," then I had to start living that truth myself. In that moment, I realized it was time to let go of my fears and to stop hiding. It was time to become who I truly wanted to be and to show up in this world for myself and others. So that night, I didn't hide in the back rows of dance class worrying about my moves. I stepped into the middle. Not all the way to the front yet, but progress is progress, right? And that small step forward set off a chain reaction. I auditioned for acting school. A first. I took singing lessons. Another first. I left my corporate job. More the first. I opened up to my parents about things that I'd kept buried for years. A huge first. And I launched my podcast. It's called Many Firsts. Each first chipped away at my fears, transforming them into curiosity and excitement. But here's the thing about firsts. They're not always pretty and comfortable, right? Think about some of your firsts. Firsts can be awkward and terrifying, but also exhilarating. in fact, the biochemical and physiological responses in these moments of firsts, when we get sweaty palms and a fast-pounding heart and an increase in adrenaline, they're essentially the same, whether we're nervous or excited. The difference lies in how we interpret that energy. If we focus on the uncertainty and potential failure, that energy manifests as nervousness. But if we frame it as anticipation and possibility, we feel excitement. So it's all in the twist we give it, through the perspectives of our minds, and as I like to say, our hearts. Now, speaking of our hearts, something I find really beautiful and powerful is knowing that the word courage comes from the Latin word cor, which means heart. So showing courage, the willingness to face our fears, means we're staying connected with our hearts and our dreams. Our courageous firsts shape us. And even if things initially don't turn out as we may have imagined, we still have a first to add to our list and most likely a story to tell, maybe even for the rest of our lives. And yes, there may also be stories we may not want to share, and that's also okay. But by seeing beyond the fear to the possibilities that lie there, we actually activate and expand our resilience, which is a true superpower in today's ever more complacent world. I have come to learn that that superpower, resilience, isn't built in grand, dramatic moments. It's forged in the quiet, everyday practice of stepping forward, even when I'm scared. And yes, sometimes I might feel like I'm going to pee my pants. But a life without consciously inviting firsts, well, I don't know about you, but that's not a life I'm willing to live. So, let me ask you, what's a first you've been putting off? What can you think, say, feel, do, or even be today? What's one first step you can take to move closer to a life you really, really want? Because here's the truth. The magic of life isn't in playing it safe. It's in the messiness, the risks, and the unexpected moments, like meeting a little girl in a public bathroom that's clean, and that whole thing changed my life forever. Always, always leave room for the unexpected. Embrace it when it appears and ask, what can I learn from you today? Life is about opening our hearts and standing in our truth. It's about taking ownership of all we do and all we are. And if things get uncomfortable, and they will, or hard, it's okay. That's when we tap into our resilience, that superpower. So yeah, let me invite you to join me on this journey of creating intentional firsts. Because as Jean de la Bruyère says, out of difficulties grow miracles. So let's create these firsts. Take that step. You can do it. It will be worth it. Join me in this journey. Let's get present. Be authentic. Play full on, one first at a time. As Mark Nepo says, we are stronger, gentler, more resilient, and more beautiful than any of us imagine. Thank you.